What is up, people? What's going on? Do-do-do-do-do. Just cleaning a brush here real quick. Just rinsing it out. I went through a whole deep cleaning brush regimen earlier today. Took my favorite brushes and really got them good and clean. So I normally use this to clean my brushes, and it does a fantastic job as like a day-to-day cleaner. Um, like this is really nice stuff for day to day. Um, but James Wapple was mentioning that he just cleans it with this stuff. So I already had some of this just for restore. So it's like I'm gonna see what happens if I just straight up like try to do my normal cleaning with that stuff. Holy cow! I was shocked how much stuff came out of the brush with that stuff after I had already cleaned with other cleaner. Like I was just shocked like how much was still coming out. So I just went through and gave all of my brushes just a really good deep clean with that, and but it's a little oily, so I wanted to go ahead and get anything that was in it out. So just running a little water through those just to make sure. Be working on this fun guy today. Why don't we pull up a reference picture here? Oh, you know what? I don't think I'm quite in focus, am I? Let's see. I think that's better, hopefully. Looks a little off still. Let's see. Oh, that's how did that happen? Weird. Okay, that should be good. There we go. Yep. All right. What am I doing here? So we got brushes. Let me put that aside here. I think we're ready to get rolling. Oh, I was gonna pull up the reference image. This is the one that I like best that I found. I'll throw it up here. I really like this as a reference image. I linked the artist on my Facebook page who did this one. Throw this up. This is grabbing the wrong thing here. That's what she said. Yeah, I finished the water dragon. I don't have it nearby. Or I would pull it up on camera. Um, but you can check out Facebook pics. Actually, you know what? I feel like going and getting that. I will. Yeah, I'll be right back. I feel like showing that off. It'll take me 2 seconds. Be right back. All right, I am back. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like showing off here. All right, get back here. Yeah. So the dragon, the water dragon. Like I don't know, the pictures just really on the Facebook page just really don't do it justice. I gotta figure out what in the world, because like this looks so much better than my actual picture of it. I need to figure out what the difference is. Like, yeah, because like I'm super happy with this. Like the picture just is like, eh. So, yeah, I'm super happy with this how this guy turned out. He looks sick. Like, yeah, this kind of blue teal color with the purple. Yeah, like super with the purple going to magenta. Yeah, super happy with that. If you're just tuning in and you see that dragon, you can check how we painted that on stream just a few days ago. I mean, the craziest thing to me about this, the absolute like most ridiculous thing about this model to me is that this was 3 hours. Like it was all on stream and this was 3 hours. And about a half an hour worth of like gluing together and prep work. Like that's the part to me that's like, wait, what? Like even to me who sat there and did it in 3 hours, I'm like, yeah. Right? Like, yeah. So that's the part that I was like, I got done and I was like, well, that just happened. Like, yeah. Well, the nice thing about a mini like this compared to another mini that's more detailed, like take this guy. This guy's gonna probably take more than 3 hours because this guy has very few kind of what I call specific details. Like he doesn't have a lot of things that I have to be real careful on, right? He's got a lot of texture, he's got a lot of things, but there's not a lot of like I don't have to paint, a lot of different buckles and belts and little make sure I'm really careful details on it, right? So whereas the dragon here was very much a like he's got this color, this color, this color, some teeth, like yeah, there's not a lot of specific details. So all right. So we'll talk about equipment a little bit, I guess, since I've got it up. What we will be using on the next figure. Here's stuff that I like, kind of. Add one brush. I'm missing a brush. Let me see if I can find it. Not important. I can get a new one. Yeah, let me grab one. That's weird. Alright, brushes we're likely going to use for the rest because people like talking about equipment, you know? Everybody's like an equipment junkie in mini painting. Like, what's the next best thing, right? Like, let's get a paper towel here. So number 8, craft round brush. This is just you abuse and use these things. They come out like 12 cents each. These are all Raphael 8404, except this one is in 8408, I think. And they're just really high quality brushes. This is a 012. Most of it will probably do with the one if I feel like I'm trying to recondition the one. The one got abused really hard a while back, and I might just have to pitch it. Like, yeah, because see, it keeps having stray hairs. It might just be one that I'm gonna have to replace. I just really hate doing that because it was totally my fault. Like, thank you very much. Oh, we tricked somebody. Who did we trick? Ah, I don't want to grab that. Ah, thank you so much, the fifth Xenos. Thank you so much. And I need to put that over that, don't I? There we go. That should go over. There we go. Thank you so much for that. Subscriptions really help me able to keep showing awesome things to you guys. If you've got a stray hair, so can you see how there's one stray hair coming off the side there, right? There's actually two. When you've got that, if they just won't come back in a line, what you do is take a pair of clippers, come down close to the base, and just clip them off right at the base. Of course, this is like not a sharp set of clippers. So I think there's one more in there that's still hiding that's stray. There it is. Yep. We're just gonna We're going to take these strays and we just clip them off at the base. Don't try to pull them. Don't clip. Ah, what just happened? The clippers went weird on me. Don't try to pull them out. Don't try to. These will not cut. These are like the worst clippers ever. I think I'm doing more harm than good at this rate with this clippers. Alright, we're gonna try that. This brush might just be lost. We'll see. Alright, so we got these brushes. These are Rosemary & Co. Smush brushes, right? So these are great for doing texture. They're very similar to makeup brushes. They're just a little bit softer. I like them a little bit better. I also like this size of makeup brush, which is just a really small. It's great for adding just real small bits of texture and stuff like that. Color-wise, you can see we're going to be doing some reds, some golds, some greens, lots of green. The cape, I haven't really decided about the cape. Like, I don't know if we should do like black. The that 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 Guan Yu figure doesn't really show a cape. Let's see if we can find one with a cape. This is a historic figure, so I'd like to do it close to some reference if there was. I doubt there's like a reference that shows like what cape color he was wearing, but I don't know. I think probably green. Yeah. I'm looking at other references. Green seems to be the popular color for his coat. Or for his cape. So yeah, we'll do that. Alright. So he's gonna have a green top and a green cape. And then mostly browns and reds and everything else. Gold, a lot of gold. I think that sounds good for him. I'm not going to do more on the horse right now because I want to get the rest of the colors kind of blocked in first before I decide how much I'm going to do on um, the hair and stuff. Obviously, there's a lot left to do on the horse as far as the hair goes, but I really want to figure out exactly what I'm going to do with the figure, with one small exception. There's some areas over here that I want to go ahead and put airbrush black on the hair because it looks like I missed it last time. And if I don't do it now, it's going to be really hard to match later. So we're just going to throw a little bit of black ink in the infinity here and go ahead and do that just real quick. It won't take long at all. Especially if it turns out that this is reasonably clean. If the airbrush is not clean for some reason, then yeah, that would suck. Can you guys hear when my airbrush compressor's on? Like, it's on right now. Alright, where's this? You try to bite the hairs? Is that what you mean? Like, you're a braver man than I am, if that's what you mean. Okay. Alright, we're just gonna hit. There's just some parts of the horse that I didn't get black with the airbrush. And it'll just make my life a lot easier in the future if I get them now. They'll be much harder to blend later. I think that was it though. Oh, looks like under there. Oh, way under there. Alright. That's all I wanted to do there. Now we're going to focus on the green parts, the face parts, stuff like that. We'll probably airbrush some of it just so we get nice smooth coats. And then once we get to the more detailed parts, we'll switch to a brush. And then we'll have to add some texture and stuff like that. As I said last time, you pretty much never want to only airbrush a model. It'll look too soft. It won't look right. You'll never be. It, yeah. Anytime I see a model that's only airbrushed, it's like, no, negative, negative Ghost Rider. I said negative Ghost Rider to somebody the other day, and they were like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." I was like, "Top Gun." They're like, "I've never seen Top Gun." I'm like, "We can't be friends." Like what? Sorry, what? The pattern is thank you. Thank you. Exactly. See, I knew you were awesome. You were like one of the first subscribers. I knew you were awesome. What am I doing here? I was gonna do the green. Go ahead and airbrush the green, and we'll go ahead and airbrush the face. We'll do the green first. I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna choose a real dark green. We're not gonna go super bright on the green, I don't think. Most of the green that I see is like a forest green, right? Do I already have my green out? I don't know. Is this green? This is green. We're gonna do some green black to start off with. We're just gonna, like usual, we're just gonna do real short bursts. What's everybody else painting lately? What are we working on here? Anybody doing anything they're especially happy with? Feel free to share comments, share posts in the chat. We are more than happy to see what somebody else. I'm more than happy to follow along with what someone else is doing. Doing this with the airbrush because I feel like I have enough control to get it where I want it for the most part, while simultaneously making it a little bit faster. Definitely smoother. Plus, the airbrush will preserve at least a little bit of our what's the word I'm looking for? Zenithal, our pre-shading. It'll preserve at least a little bit of that. It's much harder to do um, with a brush. I'm just doing real short bursts. Nothing. The deal with airbrushes is remember they're not paint spray cans. You don't hold the trigger down and just go to town. It's real control. It's a precision instrument. I'm also making sure that I'm not angling the spray such that the overspray hits the horse. I'm making sure that when I angle the spray, it's where I want it. I think there's a little bit down in here. And I guess his this is just going to make life easier here. You don't have an airbrush, it's one of those tools that really is a game changer. Like, it can just really make your life so much easier on miniatures. If you accept that it's a skill. I'm going to go ahead and do this border green. I'm not sure what we're going to do it, but if I go ahead and do it green, I know that it's green right up to the border then, and that I can make any future decisions later about it. But if I don't make it green, it gets a lot harder. I oversprayed onto the horse just slightly. That's not a problem, though. We can fix that. Okay. I think we're pretty good, though, here. Just gonna reinforce a few of the places that are darker. We'll just hit it a little more concentrated in those places. Okay. Yeah, an airbrush can really be transformative if you let it be. Like, if you just treat it like it's too complicated and you're scared of it, and you just expect to like pick it up and like know what to do with it, then you're gonna be one of those people who only ever use it to a very small percentage of its potential, and that's just a shame because you can really do amazing things. Somebody said, there's nothing you can do with an airbrush that you can't do with a normal brush. And while that's true, sometimes the difference is dramatic with how much work it takes to do something or something like that. So, can you? Sure. Should you? I don't know. I gotta figure out what color skin I want for this guy. He's got a pretty reddish skin, right? Let's do the bronze. I think that makes the most sense. It's kind of barbarianish, right? We're gonna go ahead and do our Reaper skin tones for this one. I just spilled paint water all over myself, guys. That was amazing. All right, give these a whirl in the spinner here. What is up, Toko69? Thank you so much for subscribing. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. That allows me to keep doing awesome things for you guys, like giveaways and stuff like that. So, giveaways are so much fun to do. So, I really like um, giving stuff away. Some other painter actually told me, they're like, the only reason you're popular is because you give stuff away. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's necessarily true, but like, I give stuff away because I like, giving stuff away. Like, don't treat it like that's some criminal thing to do, you know? Like, for heaven's sakes, like, you can give stuff away too. Like, like, yeah, it's just ridiculous. People always got to find reasons to be upset, you know? Whatever. Whatever. Some people just gotta make trouble, right? I gotta unclog this paint bottle here. And my paint clogger is my thing has got too much crap on the end. I gotta clean it off a little bit. Let's try to get this guy unclogged here. There we go. Okay. We got a little bit of Vallejo thinner in there. We're just going in with some Reaper Bronze Shadow. Although, I don't know why I did Bronze Shadow. I normally like to start on skin with the mid-tone. We'll go ahead and do it this way this time. That's fine. We're just going to do little squirts again. We do not want to treat it like a spray cam, right? Cleaning off my tip. I like, for cleaning off, when you get a little dry tip, just take a brush like this, a little wet brush like that, comes right off. Alright, so we just want to do anything that's skin. His face here. Again, you gotta realize, don't do too much with an airbrush, going to be a couple of passes of real short squirts. Blast squirts? I don't know. We got some green right there and it's bugging me. I'm going to have to hit that with something. I like this color though. It actually is a real nice highlight color on this horse. I may hit that a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I really only got it that one place on the horse, and I'm not really sure how exactly. I must have done something stupid and not realized it. If I really was super worried that I wouldn't be able to fix it, then I would just and what I should have done was just put like a sheet of paper or cling wrap or something just to mask off that area of the horse. That's what I should have done. But, you know, I'm not that smart. But you can see because we're doing real light passes with the airbrush and we already had that zenith, look how much shading we're already getting on the face and we really haven't done anything. like we're already getting a lot for our money without really doing much. And that would be really hard to do by brush, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to leave that color there. We're going to switch to our mid-tone. We're going to spray that a little bit and switch to our highlight, and then we'll probably close to by brush for the face, and then we'll hit some green highlights. Rinsing this out. I was like, what am I doing? You know what? Let's go. Yeah, let's do the face. Let's finish up the. People are like, airbrushing is too slow. Like, I don't know. If you say airbrushing is too slow, like, you just need to practice more with the airbrush. What am I doing? Okay. I keep like forgetting what I'm in the middle of doing. Like, I don't know, do I have memory issues? Alright, we got a little bit of airbrush thinner in there, probably a little too much. Just gonna do a couple of drops of this. We're about 50-50 on thinner to paint. And what are we at right now? About 20 PSI, maybe a little higher. Right now we're just using this to make our life a little bit easier here. We're just gonna come in and just give this just a little bit of a highlight like this. The last time I was mainly focused on staying low and under, and now I'm focused more on getting it up. So it's more like a zenith. But I still got to think about not getting it anywhere that I care about, right? Which isn't hard here. It's just something that I gotta do. All right. You can see we're getting a real nice face already. The only thing about airbrushing is I feel like it tends to leave things satin a lot of times. So usually after I'm kind of done airbrushing, I will hit it with some ultra matte, and it makes a much better surface for brush painting. Like brush painting on satin is very frustrating. When you brush paint on satin, it just wants to the surface tension of the paint you're fighting. It tends to want to be too cohesive. I'm not sure the right word that I'm looking for here. So you almost always want to make sure that you're working a matte surface. I thought that was something that was not like well known or whatever until somebody was like, "Oh no! I watched one of the infamous like dark sword painting videos from a couple of like master painters, and they mentioned the same thing, that they will hit a surface with matte if they feel like it's getting too glossy. And so turns out that is a thing, which made me happy. All right, we're just coming in with some highlights now, and we're going to be real steep here and real subtle. We don't need to do much, a little more than I want. We're going to come back in one time with the shadow and hit it once with that, because I feel like this is coming out like crazy fast. Yeah, that's more like I want. I just had my air pressure a little too high. Alright, then we're going to come back in once with our low light, and then hit it on there, and we'll be good to go. With airbrushing, I find it's always best to come back in once with the shadows at least. It just, you tend to lose too much contrast otherwise with airbrushing. So we'll just do a couple of drops of our shadows, and we'll move on to the green, and then we'll figure out what we want to do there. We probably need to fix the horse after that. The horse, which should not be hard at all. Yeah, I'm just getting little tiny squirts. That's all I want. And then we're just coming from a downward angle, right? Just putting some of the little less subtle here. Just trying to dial this in. Ah, that's what it's going on. I was like, something's wrong. We got a little bit of dry tip. So I'm just taking this and just doing that. There we go. There we go. And then just real, just making sure. There we go. I'm happy with that. There we go. All right. We'll have a lot to do by brush tilt. That's okay. All right. Let's do a green highlight. We're not gonna go real bright, and we're gonna do a lot of stippling texture. So we're just gonna add a little bit here, not a lot, because we want that cloth feel, and you never, ever, ever get the cloth feel if you're only airbrushing. Like, you need texture. But remember, we're all about trying to get layers of color, layers of, like ogres, right? We want layers. So we're just. Did I not spray? Did I add in? That's weird. There we go. I feel like I want this to be brighter yet. I don't need it bright, but I want it brighter than that. I'm throwing in some brighter green. Mixing that up. Right? Like, we rock the pop culture here. I watch way too many movies. That's like a fact. Alright, we're gonna roll with this and see how it goes. Alright, let's see what we got here. This should not be... Yeah, it's just a little bit more saturated. This is about our mid-tone, I would say. We're not looking for a real bright green here, so this is about what we want. Just focus on the areas that are going to be our highlights. I'm just trying to be subtle here. Little bitty. I think that's... Alright, I think that's all we're going to do there. Name of the game right now is subtle. Alright, let's fix El Horso Greeno a bit. We almost don't need to, but we will a little bit. We almost don't need to because horses have that little bit of sheen, and this green is so strong. We could actually sell it as that's the green cape reflection off the horse's skin. Like, that would not be a crazy thing at all to try to sell. I just don't know that I want to do that right there. Because, like, if I do that there, I really kind of need to do that a lot of other places, and that sounds like a lot of work. So, I don't know. So I think all we're going to need to do to fix that is we're just going to hit it with a little bit of thinned burnt sienna. And that should make that should fix that bit right there. Is everybody stream going fine for everybody? We having any issues? Video and sound okay? Everything fine? Alright, we're gonna do just little bitty bits on here. This is burnt sienna ink. And we're just wanting to make sure we shift. We got a little bit of green overspray, and we just want to, if it's got a slight green tone to it, that's okay. We just need to make sure that that's all it took. We just shifted that back right there. I'm really happy with how the horse turned out. Like, overall, I really like the horse. The flesh. Like, I was not at all sure, and I'm really quite happy with how it turned out. Alright. So, I think that's good enough to fix that. So, let's do, alright. Leave somebody talking. Do they want to see the cape and the shirt with the green, or do they want to see the face on the figure? Which one are we focusing on? The green or the skin? I'm fine to do either one, but if a viewer would like to see one or the other, I can do either one. Just cleaning out the airbrush here. For my cleaner, I used to buy the like the Iwata Medea cleaner. That stuff's just so expensive. So this is just isopropyl alcohol and windshield washer fluid, and it works. Honestly, it works better. Like, it's good stuff. I would not hesitate to recommend it at all. So that basically it's high alcohol content and a mild detergent. Okay. I think we made that. We're treating that airbrush pretty well today. That's good. Oh, okay. Taking my headphones off for a second, letting my ears breathe. You were hoping someone else would jump in. Nobody else jumped in, my friend. It is all on you. It is all you, buddy. The skin, huh? Okay. All right. I think you are the only one chatting, my friend. It is all on you. You are carrying this for everybody else. You're just too intimidating. People are like, I don't want to chat. He's chatting. That's totally a joke. You know, some streams we have lots of people interacting and chatting, and some streams it's like pulling teeth to get people to interact. You just never know. So I think Thursdays are usually a little less chatty. I think. I don't know. I think there's also a lot of other streamers on right now. Like last I looked, there were a lot of big name miniature streamers going. Yeah, I mean, there's several different folks doing their thing right now. All right, so FaceTime, huh? All right, let's do faces. All right, so a couple of things about faces. I really like the Reaper skin tones. I've said that before. So I really like starting out with those, and then I go a little bit further up and a little bit further down as far as value goes. And then they usually need a little bit more red in some areas. You guys almost get to hear my singing sometimes. So when I was a kid, um, I'd have headphones on, right? And I'd be listening to something, and I'd be like singing in my head, not realizing like half the time I was apparently singing much louder than like not in my head. And yeah, that was kind of embarrassing. You know what? We're gonna do this. I like this. I've really started to like this pale yellow right here as a highlight color for skin. Like it really does well. I'd been using bright ivory, and a lot of times that's a little too bright, and sometimes this is too. But I like the yellowish flavor to it. I'm probably gonna do most of this with a Raphael 84040, which is surprisingly larger than other zero brushes. Like, don't feel like a zero and this brush is like super, super tiny. It's really not. Like, if we compare it to somebody else's zero, let me find another. A Raphael 84040 is, yeah, here we go. Like, this is a Raphael 84040. This is a Spellcrow Zero. Look at the difference there. And that's not uncommon. Raphael 8404 series are just larger brushes in general. So when I say I'm using a zero, it is not a super, super tiny brush. It's a super tiny brush for me. So we've got this is bronze shadow, skin, highlight, some pale yellow. Let's throw a little bit of clear red. This is Reaper clear red. Really? It's gonna be like that, huh? It's gonna be like that. I'm gonna run that through the mixer real quick. I'll throw a little bit of this on the palette, and then We need a darker tone too. Let's throw some. We're gonna have a little bit of flesh shade. Oh, that sucks. Where did you buy them from? Toku69. That's a big question as far as them coming trade. Where did you buy them from? I'm listening to music, so if I start acting weird, that's why. Darker color. Let's throw in a little bit of mahogany. That's a good color for his skin. It'll also help tighten the horse a little bit. Is it already out? I would think so. Yep, mahogany. Dick Blick? That's strange. I'll tell you right now, the best prices I have found for Raphael 8404s is Jackson Art. But here's the crazy thing. You go to Jackson Art and you order from their UK site. The Jackson Art brushes on their UK chart site are much cheaper than the 8404 brushes on the Jackson Art UK site are much cheaper than the US site. And Jackson Art does free shipping internationally if your order only contains brushes and it's at least 20 pounds worth of brushes. So if you order like 2 brushes, then you're getting free shipping internationally, and they come out to, I want to say, about $10 a brush for an 8404 compared to like $18 a brush on the normal Jackson Art site. So yeah. So what I do is I'll order like the brush that I go through most is a 8404 size 1. So I'll order like 3 size 1s. And it's like $36 comes out to about free shipping. So what's that, about $12 a brush with everything? Um and that'll last me year and a half, 2 years. So brushes are consumable. Like, just don't kid yourself into thinking that you're buying a brush that's going to last forever. Like, that's just not how brushes work. Brushes are consumable. People say that brushes last years. I don't know any I don't know any miniature painter of note that is still using a brush from ages ago. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, we are just, I'm sure there's somebody. I'm having trouble on like determining this guy's eyes. Like, I can't figure out what is an eye on this guy. Like, it's really bothering me. I'm gonna have to like block something in just so I can kind of. I think he's got like super squinty eyes. Like, I don't love that, but I think it works. Yeah, so that's what I do is order that. I tend to use thicker paint. I don't do real thin paint a lot. So the 8404s work for me if you are a real thin painter and you do a lot of like glaze painting and stuff like that. Then rather than the rather than the 8404s, I would actually recommend um the Rosemary and Co. Series 33. So if you paint really thin and you go to use a giant belly brush like an 8404, what's going to happen is all that water in the brush is going to run out and you're not going to have good control over your model. I think I can zoom in a little bit doing the face here. Okay. And you're not going to have good control. So let me show you. I'll show you what I mean. Here we go. So I've got some Rosemary Co brushes here. Yeah, here's what we'll do. So if you have Like this is a Rosemary & Co. and a Raphael 8404. So see the difference in the tip. This one isn't wet. Here, just a second. All right, so you can see the tip is pretty much the same, right? Come on, focus on this. Am I too close? I might be too close. There we go. Okay, so you can see the tip on this is the same. Okay, and these are both size 1, but you can see this brush right here on this one is the belly, and this is the 8404. And so what happens is if you're using real thin paint and you go to touch the model, all that water held in the belly is going to run out all over your model, and you're not going to have really good control. But if you're using real thin paint and you've got this one, you're going to have a lot more control because it's just not holding as much water. But if you're using thicker paint and you try to do it with this one, it's going to split and fray real bad because the paint is going to get real thicker and dry a lot faster inside of the brush. So it's just different brushes for different kinds of painting. So you need to pick a brush that matches the style that you do or you intend to do. So if you're a thicker painter like I am, where I tend to not do tons and tons of like really like layer after layer after layer of thin painting, then this is a good brush because I tend to be thicker. If you're glazing over and over and over and over and over again, um, this is a Rosemary & Co. Series 33. So they're stupid cheap. They're $6-7 a brush, but they're fantastic. The reason this brush is more expensive, it has more hair. That's just strictly the reason why. The price of these brushes is very much proportional to how much hair they have. That's a If you look at us at a 8404 brush with about the same amount of hair as that one, it's much closer in price. You know, there is some what am I gonna call some price difference, but not nearly as much. All right, so what I've done is I blocked in the white of the eyes, and then I gave them a dark shadow to really help sell that they're inset a little bit, and then we're going right under with my darkest shadow, which is a little bit of um, the mahogany mixed with the base, right? And then we're going to put that under his nose as well, right? So we just want to help define all these areas. And then what we need to do is get these cheek areas really good. And so we're going to put it down in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to be prepared to do a little bit of feathering. So we put it down in there, and then we take our brush and we just catch the edge and just kind of work it out nice and smooth. Luckily, this is a well sculpted face, so it makes things a lot easier. If you ever feel like you want to try some form of sometimes it's called two brush blending or just feathering, but you constantly your paint dries before you get to it, just get a little bit of retarder and start trying with that. Right now I'm doing, this is my the word I'm looking for, base flesh. It's just my midtone. There we go. Okay. We want to take some of this red now, and we want to work this into a few places. But we can't go just straight red, or that would just be crazy. So we're going to work just a little bit of it into his kind of cheek areas, right? Notice we're pulling down. We're not pulling up. If we pull up, we're going to end up really just depositing a lot of it where we don't want it, right? Okay. So see how adding that color in really adds a lot of life to the model. Okay. We also usually have some red around our nose. We're going to work a little bit of that red in there. And we're going to come back in, work some more of our mid-tone in. Airbrushing set us up a really good base, so all we're doing is kind of tweaking now, as opposed to really having to fully define everything. Airbrushing really gave us a good start. So I got some of my mid-tone now mixed with a little bit of highlight. And we're just coming in and we're kind of working right along his cheek here. And then over here. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of our flesh wash at this point, and we're going to throw it in right along his nose here. Because it's just going to help define that without us having to do a lot. We're going to throw some of this flesh wash over here too along this. We're just going to let it do some of the work on areas that are a little harder to get to and stuff. Yes, that's absolutely right. That was one of the big things that I noticed on pro painters is when you're doing smaller areas like this, like almost never take full strokes. Like you're just making your life harder if you've got strokes. If you're just stippling like that, it's just so much easier to have that kind of control that you need to have. Right? Yeah, stippling is like the stuff here. We're gonna take this flesh wash. We're gonna throw it down here on some of the hands and let it help define some of these areas here. So I tend to use flesh wash usually a little more controlled than what is kind of its intended purpose, but not always. Some places like hands, it like I almost always throw a wash on hands because it really helps with defining the fingers and stuff a lot better. And getting that definition otherwise is frankly beyond most people. Looks like we didn't get a good spray here, so we're going to throw a little bit of color here. But yes, we're definitely doing strokes. He's got eyebrows. We got to decide what color we're going to do his beard. I think he's got like black hair, right? Which I think is pretty traditional for an Asian figure, right? Yeah. So we're going to need to do some black eyebrows and black beard. Okay. We're going to throw a little bit more of our highlight in here now. We are going to thin out the highlight just a little bit. And then we're moving to the outside edges largely. So see, we're doing that kind of thing, right? And then we're going to give him highlights along the upper ridge of his nose, which is going to be a little less of a pointy nose than if we put it right at the tip. If we put highlights right at the tip, it gives him a really sharp kind of peckish nose, right? So if we do a highlight right here, then it makes his nose come down to a point. If we do a highlight up here, it gives him a little bit more of a rounded nose, right? And so you just kind of have to decide what you're going to do, right? At some point, we've got to stop chickening out and do the rest of the eye work. I'm just unsure how prepared I am to do it on camera is the main thing. Like, if I wasn't on camera, I would 100% just knock these eyes out. But doing it on camera is a little daunting, right? So we're going to add some real extreme highlights here. We're not going to go as extreme as I normally would. We're just going to add just a little, because he's got such a kind of golden complexion. Do it. You guys are a bad influence. So this is just a little bit of our highlight color with just a little bit of that pale yellow. Okay. You guys want to see me do this? Let me get black. We're going to use a little bit of... You think you're good? I don't know about that. You're encouraging me to F up this beautiful face. Alright, we're going to take a little bit of black ink mixed with a little bit of black. It's just paint, right? Yeah. I like black ink mixed with black paint for doing super important black details like this because it dries a little less slowly on the palette while still being super concentrated. I'm gonna see if I can use the glasses on camera here. Can I get close enough? How's that look? Let me see. Come on. You can do it. Alright. I'm gonna try. If I don't respond for a couple of minutes, it's because I'm deep in miniature painting eyes. Ah, come on. I don't know why that dried so fast. Alright, did we do it? I think we did, right? There we go. The key to not getting a cross-eyed model is largely to paint the pupils bigger. As soon as you decide to paint the pupils bigger, it becomes a lot easier to avoid a cross-eyed model. When you paint pupils real small, it's super, super easy. Sorry, I've got magnifiers on, so I'm looking at the camera and looking at my thing and trying to see. Um, okay, we're gonna throw a little reflection in them, and then we'll call them good. If you are nervous about doing eyes, the trick is to do them first before you paint the rest of the face. And just a second. There we go. I'm reasonably happy with that. The trick is to do them first, and then yeah. So at this point, the face is pretty nearly done, with the exception of the facial hair, right? So let's go ahead and block in some of that. He's got eyebrows here. He's got like big bushy eyebrows. Then he's got this massive, awesome beard. Um, to shade a muted teal. A muted teal. So you mean like like a like a teal, a pastel teal? You say muted? Teal wash over an off-white. Interesting. I'd have to see a picture. Feel free to share a link to it. Offhand, my brain says if you want um a subtle shade, just a blue or a violet. Kind of depends on a lot of things. How much of a shade you want. Alright guys, I'm gonna back out just a little bit. It'll give me a chance to. Well, anytime you do a shade, anytime you put a wash, like, I don't know, I just never think of a wash making something especially bright. Shading with red, yeah. I like purple for teal. If I'm gonna do like a really strong shading on teal, I like purple. On the dragon, just a second. Yeah, links are fine, yeah. So on this guy, the shade that's actually inside of the scales there is like a reddish purple. That's actually, this was washed with a reddish purple. Thanks. So we did this one live on stream not too long ago. This was, yeah, the this was 3 hours worth of work. You know, that's the crazy thing, right? Yeah, this face took no work. Like, I spent no time on this face. Like, this is all washes and makeup brushes and everything on the face. Yeah. Yep. This was just knowing how the washes and makeup brushes and everything work. This is this entire miniature is almost all makeup brushes. Well, actually, I take it back. Not technically makeup brushes. It's the Rosemary and Co. smush brushes. You can watch him paint it if you go back on the stream, and you can see he was painted, I think, earlier this week even. How long you been painting for? You dropped a link. Let me go look at it here in a moment. I just remembered that you dropped a link. Let me get through this particular piece. I'm hoping to finish this guy up by... He really has got to be done and pictures done by Monday, because the Kickstarter for this particular figure happens Monday. Am I soft? I wouldn't expect me to be soft. Oh, I am. How did that happen? That's weird. Huh. There we go. That's better. My mic got turned down. Sorry about that. I've switched mics and I didn't realize this has a inline volume turned down. What did I say? I'm not sure what I was talking about. I may have slept since then. Oh, I was talking about I think I need to go check your link out. One second, I'll go check your link out here. Let me get through this black beard. There's not a good way to get down in here. It just really is not. I wish this figure had been done as a separate horse and rider. I really do. That's one of my only real criticisms of this figure, is that the whole thing would have been way easier to paint if this had been done as a separate horse and rider. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah. But he didn't sculpt it that way, and I suspect it would be incredibly difficult to change it now. So you said you're new to painting. How long have you been painting? Alright, I think we're almost... Alright. There we go. Alright. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the link that you sent me and we'll take a look. Can I throw it up on stream? Are you okay with that? Alright, we'll throw it up here. Is this it? Yep, alright. Ah, it's big. Just a second. Weird. I wonder why it rotated. Huh, just a second. Alright, so what do we got here? Alright, yeah, so... Alright, so you're wondering how to highlight or how to shade the scales. For those, I would throw like a purple or a blue wash over those. Yeah. If it was me, I would do that, and then I would take um like a makeup brush, like one of these guys. There we go, one of these guys here, or something smaller like this guy. And I would dry brush the scales with like an off-white or like a light yellow or something like that, and they'll really pop then. If you do those scales with just a normal brush, they will go bad on you quickly. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, I think I really like shading. Gotta find it here. Black with the Reaper Dark Skin Triad. With the Reaper, sorry, the Dark Elf Shadow Triad. The Dark Elf Triad. So this is Dark Elf. I really like shading black with that. I think it looks good. So we're gonna work up that and see how it goes. Painting hair sucks. I hate painting hair. Yeah, I like the Reaper Triads too for certain things. Like I said before earlier on the stream though, they almost never for skin, they don't go dark enough and they don't go light enough. So you kind of got to push them a little further in each direction, but overall they're really good. They're a good starting point. All right. So the thing to remember when painting hair is you got to paint it as um you got to paint it as volumes first. Let's go ahead and knock the eyebrows out. I don't know that I love these eyebrows. These eyebrows are like ginormous, I'll tell you. Can we do that as something other than an eyebrow, I wonder? We're gonna make that part of his helmet. It really looks like an eyebrow. Got like Groucho Marx style eyebrows. Okay, we'll run with them, I guess. So we're just gonna knock the eyebrows out here. We're just gonna do a series of short strokes. Not sure. I don't think I've ever done eyebrows with the Dark Elf Triad here, so let's just see how it goes. Okay. Might take it a little bit brighter. Let's throw some of this in there. And this. Just give it just a couple of Okay. Alright, yeah, okay. Alright, so when we're doing hair, what we got to remember is that we can't try to do every hair individually. You treat the hairs as a group until you kind of get down to kind of the final hairs, to the final highlights. If you treat every hair individually, it ends up looking insane. So what we're going to do is we're just going to slowly kind of highlight up, treating them as though they're one volume of hair instead of individual hairs. When we talk about volumes in miniature painting, we're talking about the overall shape of it, right? So I'm basically not picking out individual hairs at all right now. I'm painting over the black parts and basically not worrying too much about coverage, which is going to mean that I will end up with the black that I painted before in the dark shadows. And everything else should start to be this, I think that might be, I think this is hair, and I think that's skin. I'll have to come back for that. So then we just slowly move up and a little less and a little less, and focusing on leaving some of the stuff that's in shadow a little bit with every layer. Yeah, that's supposed to be neck right there. That sucks. The good news is I don't think we're going to see much of the hair at all from this model, from this angle on the model in pictures. This is a Kickstarter thing, so the pictures are super important. In many ways, they are the most important thing. I'm going to try raising. I feel like this is a little dark. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Just working on. Like I said, we're not focusing on too much on what the individual hairs are doing at this point. We're just treating them as a group overall. Yep, he's starting to get there. Moving up color by color here. Time is it? Alright. This is where we're starting to get into our highlights, and we gotta pay a little more attention. About the worst thing you could do on a model like this is try to dry brush the hair. Dry brushing hair just does not look right, almost ever. I don't know that I've ever seen hair that was dry brushed that looked good. getting up towards our final highlights for black color. Then I've got to decide if I'm going to wash this with something to kind of get in the crevices. I don't normally do too much of that, but this is a model that lends itself a bit to that. Yeah. Dry brushing hair just usually does not look right. It depends. Almost always these days, though. Um, I'm printing it as well. I have one guy that I paint for right now who just kind of insists that he send me printed stuff, and I think he's trying to make it easier for me, but in reality I would just rather have the STL and print it myself, because if I mess up or something breaks or something like that, I have a copy of it then already, which is just really handy for that. And the focus on this driving me nuts. I'm gonna add in some lighter highlights here. We're going a little more towards gray here, like gray hair, but that's okay. Like, I think it's more interesting than black, especially since we're gonna have black hair on the horse. So I think going a little gray here is probably a good thing. I've been talking with a lot of painters lately about 3D printing and stuff, and there's still a few painters who are kind of looking down on 3D printed stuff. They're like, it's just not as good as painted stuff or resin cast stuff, and it's like, I mean, yes, like the quality's not quite as good as resin, but it's probably better than you think. Like, if you're saying that, it's probably better than you think. And then two, there's just a lot of advantages to 3D printed stuff because you don't have a lot of the issues, like there's no mold lines. You got some support marks, but the nice thing is, like, I never have to worry about a mold line going through a piece of hair. Like, that's just not a thing at all. I'll tell you right now, these days I only do models that are pre-supported. Like, it's just not worth it for me to mess with supports. I just nope. I would not hesitate to put in some 3D printed models into a contest. The vast majority of people um, don't paint well enough um, for that to matter. Like, yep, I would 100%. In fact, there's actually a contest that I'm actually intending on entering a 3D printing model, 3D printed model coming up. Part of the problem I'm having with this beard is that I think it's kind of unrealistic in how it's flowing. Like I can't imagine a real beard would ever do this. So trying to highlight it realistically is throwing me some issues. Like I can't imagine how a real beard would flow this way in like these kind of individual strands, right? Right? They're a lot closer to tentacles. Like I think it's kind of cool. I just the more I look at it, I'm like I don't yeah. I think we might call it good enough soon. I think this is a little strong compared to the rest of it though. I went too bright. Can I get it off? Not a big deal. I can always glaze it down. Yeah, we're a little too bright. That's fine. Alright, I think we're gonna call that good. A lot of it'll turn more black and more well defined later when I what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, when I dark line everything. Give this some texture. This might actually be part of a helmet. I don't know. My biggest problem that I've got right now is that this area right here is skin, and I thought it was helmet or hair at first. So I've got a choice. I can either try to repaint it like skin, or I can just call it hair and move on. I think we're going to call it hair and move on. Because if I try to repaint it skin now, I'm never going to match the rest of that skin. So it just became hair. It's a deep shadow of skin. It's a very deep shadow of skin, like the deepest shadow ever. We're just going to texture it up like it's hair. Call it good. And I can always change my mind and come back to it later. We'll see. Quick and dirty, just like my math teacher used to tell us. You had a slightly scary math teacher? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Alright, I'm happy with that. Let's move on to the green. If I had been halfway smart at all, I would have done the green before I just did all that beard. Because I really want to use some stippling on the green. And I just made it 100 times harder on myself now. I'm like 10 seconds too too late for that. Oh, that's okay. We can still do it. It's fine. Yeah, we'll still do it. I think, unfortunately, this palette now, I don't have enough room to do all my green that I want to do. So I'm going to have to change that. So we're going to just pull off some paper and put a new piece of paper down. I like to I throw that down so that as I pull paper off, it doesn't leak everywhere. Right? Pull that off. Put a little more water down. Then a new piece of paper. Okay. I saw somebody the other day who was like, you need to like put your paper down and then flip it over and dry it off and do all this other crazy stuff. No. Like, see? It's down. It works. Like, there's no need for flipping and drawing and all this other mad, crazy nonsense. Like, I don't know. Weird. You don't have to do that at all. All right, green. I mean, I've done homemade palettes. It works fine before. I like this because the sheets are pre-cut, so they're cheap too. Like they're not expensive, so I don't have to worry about cutting because I'm lazy. Green. All right, we're gonna need some green, and then I think we're gonna go. This will be our highest highlight probably on the green, and we probably won't use too much of it. Homemade one. So really, all you need is a sponge. So, are you sure you got the right parchment paper? That's the question. If you're joining us, we're working on this figure. I don't love the beard, but we're gonna roll with it. We don't want a lot of this, but we're gonna put some out. I think so. It was the only one in the supermarket. Seems like, but I don't know if it's getting damp enough. Do you mean damp enough? Um, for mixing. Yeah. So Army Painter sells. So this I like the AK one, and this is like 40 sheets of paper for like $3 or $4. So, and the nice thing about this one is the sponge. It's got a dual sponge system, right? So it's got um this thick sponge, a thinner sponge, and then this. So it holds a lot of water, which is fantastic because my studio is often kind of hot and everything. So the thinner sponge ones, like Like the red grass one tends to just dry out within like an hour. And I just constantly have to add water. And I find that its water level is really finicky. Whereas this one, like the water level that works is like huge. I don't know much about the Army Painter one. I haven't looked at that one. Um, Army Painter. Army Painter's kind of funny. Like I sent them a note the other day saying, "Hey, I'd love to try out your dry brushes because I do a lot of that style of painting with texture and stuff like that. If you want to send me some, I'd be happy to review them." Um, and usually those emails are very well received. Like I'm popular enough in the industry right now that those emails are generally very well received. Um, their response was, "Well, what do you think of our paints?" Basically, like, well, if we want to go there, like, okay, okay. So we're gonna take, and we're just gonna start with just some of this green, and we're just going to work. I'm too close to my. We're just gonna start working some of this color in. If we hit a little bit of our beard, it's not the end of the world. We're going to lose some of our subtleness, but that's okay. We're making the trade-off for texture because something that's purely airbrushed looks boring as F. So we're going to stipple in some stuff here. We're going to need, I think we're going to end up doing probably a gold trim on this cloak. I think that'll work well. I think I'm going to very quickly here have to switch to a smaller brush. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to do that. Parchment paper could be too thick. What do you have a link or something to what you bought? Like I can tell you um if what you bought looks like the right thing. I can't tell you if it for sure is, but I can tell you if it looks like it or not. Let's go ahead and switch to something like this. Yeah, golden red will be the accent colors on the green. So these will be the only two green parts, and then the rest is going to have golds and reds and browns and everything. So I think like his wrist things here, we do red there with some gold. All the trim I think is going to be gold. Um, so we will we're just going to use these to kind of get our highlights in there. And then what we'll do is we'll come back in and we will this might be as bright as we go in the highlights with the exception of some super small bright highlights, some really small ones, because we're getting really saturated at this point. What's I gonna say? Um, so yeah, we're gonna keep this. We're gonna keep this. Hopefully historically. I don't know if historically these were his colors or if this is what's been popularized for him. Like those are kind of two different things, right? Oh, I was gonna say what we're gonna do afterwards is we'll come in and shade some parts of it selectively with a brush. And that'll bump up our contrast a lot. Yeah, just a second and I'll click on that link, okay? Just a second, guys. What is up, man? What are you doing? We are working on some Gyanyu? I don't know. We're doing the green parts right now. We're gonna desaturate. You know what? We're gonna go straight white because I really want to desaturate these highlights a lot, guys. And if you want to desaturate something, adding white and black is about the quickest way to desaturate it. We just have to be real careful because this is gonna be super opaque. So we want to do this in real small areas, right? Yep, he's bright. I really want to kick him down a little bit, so I'm probably going to glaze something a little darker over him, but it's easier for me to work up brighter and then choose to go darker than kind of the opposite. Like if I keep too dark, then I feel like it just, I'm always going to be too dark then. But he definitely got a little brighter than I hoped, but it's very easy just to take him back down a notch, right? But that means if we're going to kick him down, we got to go super bright. Have a good night, man. Appreciate you coming and hanging out always. Always great to have you in the stream, man. So what is work for you? You said you're taking a break from work. What's work? I have no idea what you do as far as work goes. All right, I'm about happy with that green. It's brighter than I want to be, so now let's kick it down a notch. Let's take some glaze. Oh, you know what? Let's do the shadows first. Let's figure out how dark we want to go. Oh, interesting. Okay. Learn something new. Sweet. So I want to take this green. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our green, which is here. We're going to mix in some red or some purple. And we're going to use that to make a nice shadow color here. So let's mix in a little bit of our burnt red to our green and see how that goes. If it will come out. There we go. And then we'll figure out how we're going to tone it down a little bit because he's a little too bright for me. Yeah. So that's about the color that we want. And we're just going to work that in some of the shadows here. Like that. And then we're going to come back in and kind of feather it out a little bit so it's not so harsh. There we go. This is just going to help pick up our contrast a little bit, right? So just trying to be real subtle at this point, not at all crazy here. We're gonna come back in a little more red here. Hit a few of these. Ah! My brush did not do what I expected. There we go. Alright, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna change tactics a little bit. I think I want to do something I've been experiencing with. We're gonna start putting some magenta in the shadows. It's something I've really been experiencing with, and I like the way it looks. Not exactly sure how it's gonna work on not exactly sure how it's gonna work on this figure, but you know, I think it'll be fine. Last time I did it, I just really liked the look of it, right? So it's kind of real subtle. I don't know. Yeah, it really starts to desaturate these shadows a little bit. We're gonna do it real thin though. I've painted a lot of green lately. I don't know what's up with that. Got a lot of water on the model right there for some reason. Oh, from when I had a boo-boo. I'm just throwing some magenta around. It's real subtle, but I like it. Okay. Let's throw some harsher things in here. Orange I really like shading in green as well. Like I feel like it works really well too. Alright. I think it's time to bring this guy down a little though. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna take like war colors are much more transparent than a lot of other colors. So we're gonna take some of the war colors after we clean off this. Look at all that gunk. Jeez. I used to I liked the war colors a lot for a while, but they don't see much use these days. They're almost too transparent a lot of times. I could always, go tangerine, right? Some tangerine. Um, some tangerine. That's what I'm looking for. Shadow zone. Alright, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to just glaze this over. We just want to subtly tone this just a little darker, right? We're gonna drag this from our highlights to our shadows because we want it to tint the shadows a little bit more at least, right? And it should be pretty subtle, like okay. It's a little brighter than I want, but overall I like it. We're gonna just reinforce the shadows. I think that's the best plan that we've got here. Is to bump up our shadows a lot. So right now I'm just working with some red mixed in with my green here. Oh, I'm off camera. That's probably about where I want to be, with a few exceptions, like I think that needs to be a little bit brighter. Then I think we need to go back and hit a few of these edges with some brighter. Just doing these just little points here. Because I want a little bit of highlights at least. Okay. I think before I spend any more time on the green, we'll move on to other things. And then I can decide if we want to do it. But at this point, it's about time to call it a night on the stream anyways. We will figure out what we're going to do tomorrow. Or yeah, we might stream tomorrow just because I got a lot to do left on this guy. He's definitely coming along, though. If you like what you see and you're checking out, feel free to subscribe. That helps me keep doing awesome stuff on stream. Anybody have any questions, comments, anything they would like to see me stream sometime? The eyes seem too big. I don't know. We'll see. Something off with the eyes to me. I may have to do something off camera. We'll see. Something off with them. Alrighty, gentlemen. Let's find somebody to raid with at least our few people that are left here. Gentlemen and ladies. Let's see who's on. If you have somebody you'd like to see us raid. Alright. Who do we got here? It's an itty bitty raid on who? Impending Duff. Oh, let's go raid Renru. We're gonna go raid Renru.